showdown between number 6 Illinois and number 10 Duke. No media allowed in Durham, North Carolina tonight. A disappointment for many of us in the profession who love to be there and see the games live. That is not the case due to COVID-19. They have completely shut down all media for tonight's ACC Big Ten Challenge. But alas, the Your Illini Nation pregame show continues. Pleased to be joined once again by Derek Piper from Illini Inquirer. Derek, hope you're doing well tonight, man. How are you feeling tonight going into this game, knowing what's at stake for Illinois?
Yeah, it's going to be another fun one, another top 10 matchup. Obviously, wish my backdrop was a little bit different. Hope you don't mind my white walls back here. But you and I know both we're hoping to be in the building tonight. Cameron Indoor, one of the most historic venues in college basketball. Another top 10 matchup. I know through the years you've seen a lot of great battles there. Should have another one tonight. This will be the 51st top 10 battle between two top 10 teams in that building, the most ever in college basketball for any venue. So obviously a rich history there, a lot of success under Coach K, but we'll be watching like everybody else on ESPN, but it'll be a big time game, another opportunity to grab a quality win. And I know that when you're hoping for a high seed in the NCAA tournament, maybe never too early to think about that. So we'll see what Illinois was able to take after a very tough matchup against Baylor, an opportunity to practice over the weekend and get ready for a very talented Duke team, but a young one. And I think that you should see Illinois benefit from some of their veterans, some of their size inside, and you'd like to see Illinois capitalize on that.
We'll be joined by Marlee Wierda here in just a couple of minutes. We'll hear from the team. We'll break this matchup down between Illinois and Duke. And first of all, Derek, let's just talk about some quick hitters and what you expect to see on the court tonight. I think really when I look at Duke's team, I see the front court and say there's some matchup problems there for Illinois, but I also look at some advantages for Illinois, maybe especially in the backcourt, and think this could be a favorable matchup for them. What are a couple of things just real quick here, Derek, you're looking for tonight?
Yeah, the matchups, the lineup combinations are going to be really fascinating to see. Coach K's tinkered with different lineups, 3 different starting lineups in their first 3 games. I expect them to go big tonight. In their last game, they started Mark Williams, a 7-foot McDonald's All-American freshman. I think that was in preparation to see Kofi because they have a lot of length. They just don't have a whole lot of beef up front. Matthew Hurt is a really skilled forward, 6'9", that can really shoot it. He plays kind of that 4 role, and I think it might force Illinois to use a Georgie at the 4 or Coleman Hawkins. I think it'd be a great time for him to build on what he did against Baylor because he has that length and ability to play inside and out. I think that's a good matchup for him versus a DeMonte Williams, who might just be not tall enough to guard a Matthew Hurt. And Jalen Johnson is one of the top freshmen in the country. He's, again, a 6'9" guy that can probably pull a Kofi away from the basket. They can play big with him at the 3. But like you said, I think that you're looking at guard with Ayo and Trent, and you're facing a team that has talented guards and a DJ Stewart that we're familiar with, a Whitney Young. They have 2 McDonald's All-American freshmen guards in Stewart and also Jeremy Roach. But look, Ayo and Trent Frazier have over 160 combined starts at this level, and I think you look for them to have bounce-back games after both struggled against Baylor.
And maybe, Derek, for me, when I look at this, you see the numbers, and for me, Matthew Hurt stands off the page. 9 for 16 from 3, shooting 56% from beyond the arc, a 6'9" guy. My first question is, who's going to guard him, and who's going to guard Jalen Johnson?
Yeah, it's a huge question. It's a huge question mark. Matthew Hurt, again, is able to stretch the floor, space the floor. He was one of the most efficient players in the ACC last year, shot 41% from 3 in conference play, and he's off to a scorching start so far. So, again, I think that if he sees DeMonte Williams, he probably will early if Illinois continues with their starting lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to post him multiple times, similar to what Ohio did when DeMonte was playing the 4 against Ben Vanderplas. And then if you transition to a Georgie, you transition to a Coleman Hawkins, in particular with Georgie, and we've talked about this even going into the Baylor game, Georgie's ability to defend in space. I think that's a big theme tonight for Georgie and Kofi alike, because if Kofi gets matched up or switched on to Jalen Johnson, he's going to look to penetrate and take him off the dribble, and that's something you worry about as far as Kofi picking up some fouls. And I think it does work itself the other way at the other end because Jalen Johnson is not equipped physically as far as muscle and strength to bang with Kofi inside. If you're Illinois, can you force feed the ball into the post better than you did against Baylor? Can Kofi put some fouls on some of those taller, talented front court players? I think that's something that both teams will be trying to exploit both sides because the matchup is very, very intriguing and different because there's different pieces.
All right, I want to break this down some more, but right now I want to bring in Marlee Wierda, who has more and talked with the team just about the schedule and where you get to this point, because now you have another top 10 matchup, and for Illini fans for so long, I think this would have been just a point where you would have maybe, I don't know, run hide in a sense because your team wasn't that good. But now Illinois is in a position to go out and play in a game like this, and it's going to help your schedule. It's going to help your non-con. It's going to help your net ranking. So, Marlee, what was your big takeaway from talking with the team about this moment and getting prepared for this?
Yeah, for sure. And it's exactly that, because Duke is such a big name in college basketball. Whether you follow basketball or not, you know who Duke is. They're a historic program. They've been good for so long, and this team is very fired up. Brad Underwood and Andre Curbelo, we spoke to both of them this week, and they said that they were excited. You know, they know the history of Duke, and this is a team that they don't have to get really prepared for emotionally, just because they know that they're going to have to bring their best. Duke is a very good team, and even Andre Curbelo admitted a little bit that he doesn't get as fired up when they're playing, let's say, you know, the first 3 games of the MTE, the first 3 games of the season. And, you know, he's fired up against Baylor and Duke. It was a little bit of a wake-up call, though. He did say against Baylor because of just the speed and playing at that high level. But, you know, they're excited heading into this one. Brad Underwood mentioned that this is the toughest non-conference schedule that he's seen in his entire career, wanted it to be the toughest in Illinois men's basketball history, and he said this is only going to prepare them moving forward. Let's see what he had to say.
And obviously a big time team. We know, you know, everybody knows the history of Duke. They're always great. They always have a great team. But I think, you know, having that opportunity, I think it's great. I don't know if a lot of people know, but that was like my dream school since, you know, I was in Puerto Rico. Watching NCAA, I always, you know, wanted to go to Duke. I always liked the way they play, and, you know, having the opportunity to go against them now, just very well, like you said, we just got to be everyday guys. And I think tomorrow we're definitely going to be an everyday guy.
And I think that's a huge testament to the Duke program, and just that, you know, not every player that's playing on another team says, hey, you know what, this school that we're going to play right now, that was my dream school. And I think that just shows how much this program means in college basketball, and how important this opportunity is for Illinois basketball to, like you said, Brett, be on that same level playing field as them. I mean, if you look at the rankings, they're ranked higher than Duke. So that's just really exciting for this program. I can't wait to see what they'll be able to do tonight against the Blue Devils.
I love Andre's honesty, Derek. He just seems very genuine when we talk to him. And Marlee and I were talking about this earlier. It's very rare that you get a freshman who comes in and they have this media training and they're kind of told, you know, what to say, quote unquote, you know, but he just seems like a very honest and real guy. And I don't know what you've made of talking to Andre. I know you and Craig Schote went out to the East Coast to visit with him last year. Earlier this year it would have been now. It just seems like last year. But what do you make of Andre, both off the court and on it, and what he can bring tonight?
Yeah, obviously love what he brings, his maturity, just his command of, whether it's the basketball court or obviously a media Zoom where he's operating like a pro. But yeah, I really appreciated his answer, the fact that he doesn't back down from saying this is a big time moment. This is kind of what gets me fired up. These are the type of games that players dream of playing. I mean, they're not going to say the North Carolina A&Ts or the Chicago States, you know, not too much disrespect to them, but these are the big time stages. And for Illinois as a program, you look at who they've been playing in the Big Ten ACC Challenge here recently. Now, first and foremost, you need to get a win, first time in this one since 2016, but you're not going up against a middle of the pack to lower level Wake Forest team or whoever it may be who you've been drawing recently. You're playing in the primetime slot on ESPN. And I think Andre's performance against Baylor was really, really encouraging. Throw in the fact that he was banged up with concussion before the season, not much practice. He rolls his ankle against Ohio. So there wasn't a whole lot of for him to work things out on the practice floor. But I think that was the most under control he was, as far as what we've seen from him in a Illini uniform. He limited the turnovers, and clearly he showed you the court vision, the ability to just make plays off the dribble, a couple of dishes to Kofi for dunks. he can get by that first defender and really break things down for a defense. And that's something that Illinois fans knew that they were getting. It was their time to see it against a big-time opponent, and a lot of great things in store for him as a really supreme playmaker.
And Derek, we mentioned Craig, and here he is. He's calling you out, saying you need to get some wall decor back there. Come on, don't you got like some trophies, maybe? You got some
Man.
Nothing
No,
good?
we didn't bring enough back from the Arizona trip, apparently, to hang on the wall. Nothing from Grand Canyon or anything like that. But I'll get that addressed. Maybe Big Ten play. I'll be ready to rock.
Okay, all right. Always good to get Craig in there. We miss you, big guy, former WCIA 3 sports guy. All right, when we talk about this Duke matchup, Marlee, like I mentioned, for so long, I think when Illini Nation heard they were going to play Duke, there'd be like this sense of, I don't want to say fear is the right word, but almost hesitancy, because Duke is the standard, right? 24 straight NCAA appearances, 5 national titles under Coach K, 1,000+ wins, and when you hear that, you just don't feel like it's maybe quite on the same level. How do you process this and this moment coming into tonight, and what this might mean for Illinois to be on the same playing field and be ranked higher than Duke, like you said?
Right. It's just a testament as to how far this program has come. I mean, you think back to just a couple of years ago when they played Gonzaga in Maui, and this is a completely different team. They've completely, just turned this program around. And I'll be curious to see how this, sustains moving forward, not just into this season, but, seasons to come. Of course, it's great that they're primed for a really, really big season this year, but I'll be just even more excited to see how it comes up, in years to come. But Brad Underwood, he did mention a little bit about what this game means for the program and them being really excited about it. And it will only just prepare them for this Big Ten schedule and getting a seeding in the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament. And Brad Underwood, very, very excited about this one.
That this would be the toughest, most challenging schedule in the history of the University of Illinois basketball. Let's face it, we're going to be excited to play Duke. There's no challenge getting them ready. If there are, then we need to go join the intramural league when the ARC opens back up. But it's a great opportunity against a great opponent, and we appreciate what they've done. I have tremendous appreciation for that, and I think everybody in college basketball tries to get where they're at.
And I love that just last thing that he said. Everyone in college basketball tries to get where they're at. And I think this game and Illinois moving forward into this season, this is a great way to cement their legacy and what this team can be just moving forward into this year and in the future.
All right, Derek, I want to break down this matchup a little bit more. We know we talked right off the top, and my main concerns were really at the 4 and what Illinois does there. I love the matchup between Adam Miller and DJ Stewart, and do you think they're going to guard each other tonight? How do you see this playing out defensively? Because there's so many storylines between those two guys, two Chicago guys, Adam playing at Morgan Park and DJ at Whitney Young. They finished 1-2 in the Mr. Basketball voting, and now they're on a national stage tonight. It's got a really good script to it.
Absolutely. It's going to be really entertaining, and obviously two guys that are very, very familiar with each other, battle each other for the top ranking in the state. In terms of you look at the recruiting rankings, and DJ out-battled him for a little bit of a higher ranking, ends up getting that McDonald's All-American selection. Adam Miller then comes back during the senior year, has the better year statistically, beats him in a couple of matchups, some closely contested games, and gets the Illinois Mr. Basketball, gets Gatorade Player of the Year in the Illinois for 2 straight years. So I wouldn't be surprised to see these two on each other a couple of different times. I know that Duke in particular defensively really likes to switch things on the perimeter. So DJ might not be just sticking to one guy, and he actually might see a lot of Trent Frazier as well, depending on, again, how big Duke wants to play with their lineup. But there's no doubt about that. Adam and DJ maybe have some things to say to each other out there on the court. They're competitors. They're also friends, though, and have known each other for a long time. So it's going to be exciting to see them maybe have a stretch going back and forth with a couple of buckets and see that intensity ratchet up.
Do you feel like Illinois has an advantage in the guard position overall?
Yeah, I think so. I think they should. When you have the best guard of the bunch, and I would assume you have a preseason All-American, you have a guy that has proven it at this level. I think that's just the big difference between Illinois and Duke is that Duke has a lot of talent. Again, DJ is a top 25. You look at the rankings. Jeremy Roach was a 5-star point guard coming in. So they have a lot to be excited about in terms of. I mean, that's what Duke does. They churn in one of the top recruiting classes each and every year. But Io is experienced. He's done it at this level. He should. And if it's not clear at the end of the game that Illinois had an advantage at the guard spot or had the best guard on the floor, then I would say that Illinois probably doesn't win this game. I think you're looking for Trent Frazier to do the same. Of course, Illinois' young guys and Curbelo and Miller are going to have to add to that as well. But I would look for Illinois to have the advantage or just have more known commodities while Duke is still trying to figure out who they are as a team and have some freshmen prove themselves on this stage and in college basketball.
What do you think Illinois learned from that Baylor game, and especially in that stretch, 10, 8, 7, 6 minutes left in the ball game where the Bears really turned it on and kind of separated themselves? And granted, I think Baylor showed that it's a really, really dang good team, one of the best teams in the country and well-deserving of that number 2 ranking. But what's that step for Illinois to get over that hump and to compete for a full 40 minutes?
I know Brad's talked a lot about turnovers, mistakes, really at both ends, defensively being able to stick to assignments and have a couple of moments where Curbelo makes a switch when he probably shouldn't have, and he's stuck on a big guy, and Georgie's on a guard, and those are some things that you got to be able to clean up, and but also turnovers offensively, and that's something that you look at a Duke team, they like to run, and they're really trying to pressure the ball, get in the passing lanes defensively. So if you allow them to really get momentum, being able to create turnovers and get on the fast break, that's going to be a scary thing. But also just physicality, 50-50 balls. I know that's something that as the game played out, Duke and Michigan State, you could see that Michigan State was the veteran team, the more physical team. Illinois has to do that in this game, and that was something that played out with Baylor. But Illinois really has to be the aggressor, be able to flex their muscles a little bit because they have some older guys, and that's something that you want to look for. And another thing I'd mention is just offensively in the half-court ball movement has to be much better. You got to get other guys involved. Baylor had a lot to do with that as far as isolating Audisumu and him not being able to get by his guy, and that prevented the ball from going inside to Kofi or going to Trent and getting some open looks. But Illinois really has to run good offense, get multiple guys involved, and really move the ball and move guys off the ball to create Duke getting in rotations and create some breakdowns.
Now, Derek, you mentioned some of the older guys. I know Brad Underwood, he hasn't really shied away from saying that he likes to play his freshmen, but after Audisumu's performance and Trent Frazier's performance against Baylor, I mean, I don't think Audisumu played terrible, but he certainly didn't play his best. So how important will the veterans be heading into a matchup like this one against Duke?
Yeah, I don't think you win this game if Io has one basket at halftime again. That's something that he's got to be able to make plays, and you want him to make the right play because I think you look back last year and there were a lot of great moments where Io just carried you. But that game at Mackey at Purdue, I think that was the best Illinois looked offensively because Io had 10, 11 assists. He was able to find Kofi on the pick and roll. He had it going a little bit. Trent Frazier was able to knock down threes. So Io being able to make the right play, I think, is the most important thing. I don't expect him to struggle scoring-wise as much as he did against Baylor. He missed some around the basket that he normally makes. And also Trent Frazier to have 5 turnovers against Baylor, that was pretty unexpected, uncharacteristic for him. So would like to see him get back in a groove as well. So I just think when you look at this team last year, went on the road, had big wins at Purdue, at Wisconsin, at number 9 Penn State. They've been in these kind of environments before. Or these kind of challenges on the road. So that's why I would lean towards the veterans like an Io, like a Trent, like a Georgie, who can be used to this, challenge, be used to this stage, and take advantage of it. And look, we talk a lot about who Illinois is supposed to be with their ranking, their preseason ranking and all that. Now it's time to see if they belong on this national stage in the top 10. This is a good chance for them to prove that. And I think the veterans have to be the ones to really lead the charge for that.
And we'll see tip time here in about 35 minutes on ESPN, another national stage for Illinois, like you mentioned, Derek, to make a statement, to prove that this is the time that Brad Underwood has built the program to get to these types of games and moving forward here. And the Big Ten season starts 1 week from tonight. It's kind of weird to think about, but it's going to get fast-forwarded here really quick as Illinois gets set to face a gauntlet of a 20-game league schedule. But Missouri awaits in the bragging rights on Saturday as well. All right, Derek, what are you writing on Illini Inquirer leading up to this game? What can people check out here before tip here in about 35 minutes?
Yeah, my full preview posted right now, 3 keys and a pick, full scouting report breakdown of Duke, and you can see, I'll tell you here in a few minutes of who I got in this matchup, but just really looking into what Duke does, what Illinois has to be able to do to capitalize. I also did a film room breakdown of Adesummu against Baylor, just some of the plays that obviously he'd like to have back as far as finishes around the basket, but just within the half-court offense, some things that Illinois can do when teams really sell out on stopping him. I wouldn't be surprised if Duke has some of that game planned in after what they saw from Baylor. So just breaking down what Illinois can do to free him up a little bit, free up some other guys, and obviously all the post-game coverage will be on Illini Inquirer as well.
And I think that's really key, Derek, as you mentioned it. If Io, goes 6 for 18 again, Illinois is going to struggle in this game. If they only get 8 combined shots from Adam Miller and Io DeSumo, I think Baylor exposed how to beat Illinois in that sense. And you get Kofi in foul trouble, and this team is pretty mediocre in a sense. It's certainly not a top 5 team worthy of that. How important is that here as we continue and almost wrap up here, just a couple of minutes? What does Kofi have to do to stay on the court?
Yeah, he's going to have to prevent the cheap fouls. And I think when Duke looks to extend him away from the paint, he's going to have to obviously move his feet as best as possible. If he's going to get beat, he's going to get beat. He can't reach in and try to compound a mistake where you're going to get beat for a bucket. You also get a foul, and all of a sudden you're on the bench. But Illinois has to do a good job of feeding it inside. And also the fact that Duke doesn't have legit traditional center size, their guards cheat a lot towards the paint. So when he gets the ball, he's going to have to be aware of that, kick it out to a corner for a Trent Frazier 3, for Adam Miller as well. So just awareness. But again, when he gets the ball around the basket, you want him to be aggressive. You want him to take advantage of this matchup. I think, again, it's important for the guards to look for him early, find him, get him going in a groove. And you hope that stacking fouls on Duke is something that plays out instead of the other way around.
And Duke a +8 rebounding margin over its opponents. Now it's played 2 lower-level opponents and then the loss to Michigan State. I think Illinois can have an advantage on the boards tonight, and if Kofi can just command the paint and have some dominance inside, I think that presents a really good advantage for Illinois. All right, Derek, time for a pick. Who are you thinking tonight at Cameron Indoor? And it's not going to feel the same. No fans, no Cameron crazies in there. I think that could be an advantage to the Illini.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a great battle. I think it'll get maybe a little frantic early. Both teams going to be juiced up, and maybe you see some mistakes playing out. But I think Illinois settles in. I think they're the more physical team. Like you said, with rebounding, they have a potential to have an advantage there. Now, as we talked about earlier on, there's going to be some mismatches. I think both sides are going to be able to exploit that a little bit. Ultimately, I'm riding with Illinois' veterans on the road, and I think that Duke makes a little too many mistakes for a young team, and they're probably going to be better suited for this kind of battle later on in the season. So, say Illinois creates some separation late. Illinois 80, Duke 72.
Wow, 8-point win for the Illini tonight. All right, calling it out. Marlee, what are you thinking?
I'm so bad at predictions, but me and Andy Olson were talking about this earlier today, and we were just saying, okay, if they play this game 100 times, Illinois is probably going to win most of them. But tonight, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know yet. I haven't seen enough. So I say it's going to be close. I maybe give it to Duke by like 3 points. No one hate me, please. No one come after me in the chat. I see it. I see people. No.
Everyone hates Duke, Marlee. It's okay, except for Duke fans. So, that's fine. Look, I think Illinois is going to compete tonight. I think they're going to learn from what they did at Baylor. And I think Illinois is going to come out with a win tonight. I was not feeling it earlier, but Derek, you've convinced me. How about that? I think Illinois is going to go into Cameron Indoor. No fans in there. Illinois 1-0 all time in Durham, by the way. They won in Lou Hinson's last season in 1995, pulled an upset there. It's not going to be an upset tonight, so to speak, if they do get a win, but I'm going to pick Illinois 79-78. I think it's going to be a really close game down to the wire. Maybe some late free throws are the difference tonight. All right, Derek, thank you. It's been a fun show. Look for all of his content on IlliniInquirer.com. We will have the post-game press conference stream live right here on these same digital channels after the game. And then Marlee and I will wrap it all up with a 3-in-1 podcast with our thoughts later tonight. Derek, I assume you and Jeremy with a podcast as well?
Oh, yeah, late night pod after the post-game presser. So it's going to be a long one, but these are the games we live for, so let's enjoy it.
After
All right.
hours, baby.
That's right. The podcast After Dark. We love them. Some great comments on there as well. Hopefully, Illinois can come out and play well tonight and give itself a chance to win. For Derek Piper and Marlee Wierda, I'm Bret Beherns. Make sure to check out Illini Inquirer after the game and during the game with a feed there as well. And we'll have all your coverage coming up tonight at 10 and on WCIA.com. Derek and Marlee, thank you. Enjoy the game.